Well, all right. We're gonna start here. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the 10 New Windsor workshop for February 2025. Before we get started, get everybody stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. All right, before we get started, I'll make our normal introductions here. To my right, I have Deputy Supervisor Steve Moreau, Councilwoman Sylvia Santiago, Councilwoman Eve Lincoln, Councilman Charlie Breaux, Highway Superintendent Anthony Feo. I have Police Chief Danny Valeri, our Receiver of Taxes, Susan Scheibel with us. I have the Deputy Town Clerk, Kathy Mackey with us. Got our assessor, Todd Wiley, in the house here as well, and our town attorney, Dave Zagon. Welcome, everybody. Get going right here on this. The first thing on the agenda is this Stewart water filter plant planning bond. So, as discussed in a couple of previous meetings, I think I want to kind of just bounce all this stuff off of you folks and see, make sure everybody's on board here on the same page. So, as you know, I have the desire, and I think we all have the desire to perhaps put some money into our water infrastructure here in town. Our current Riley Road water plant is aging, or we've been banding a lot of it. And I think it's going to be time for us to move forward, like we're doing with the sewer plant as well, with the water plant. There was back in probably 23, there was some discussions. The best place to probably, put this, where we're going to do, we're going to do the Riley Road plant, redo that because of that tap. I think after talking to our water operators, it was kind of decided the best place, probably because it's the highest place in town, out of Stewart, gravity and everything, would probably be best that we do something up there. I think we're learning the challenges of trying to put a new sewer plant in on the same footprint as our current sewer plant. To try to keep one going and build another one's very challenging. So we have a decent chunk of property up in the airport right now that houses our old water plant. That's not being used right now, but behind that old water plant is a 2.5 million gallon, I call it a swimming pool, and that's basically what it is. It's an in the ground tank that's got a cover on it. That the cover, it really needs to be replaced sooner than later. I believe the tank may have some leakage in it as well. It's time that we put some money and effort in up there. The conversation was to first perhaps do the tanks up there, replace the in-ground underground tank to above the ground tank. The engineers have to figure out if it's going to be 2 million gallon tank, 1 million gallon tanks. That needs to be worked out a little bit yet. Once that would be, we'll call it phase one. Once those tanks are in, decommission the call it the swimming pool. It's the best way to look at it. And then where that swimming pool would be the footprint of a new water plant. With that, we'd have to do some water infrastructure. There's the pump station down on Jackson Avenue, which is, I don't know, I'm going to call it 500 yards away. I don't know. That sound right, Anthony? Probably about 500 yards away. However, that pipe runs up to that plant. We'll have to do a new siphon, and we have to do some work in there. So phase one would be the tanks and perhaps upgrading that pump station, and then phase two would be a new plant. Unlike the sewer plant, I think what we did was we had our engineer look at it, throw a number at it, and then we went and bonded for it. And then after we had a cost estimate come back, we come to find out that we need to go after more money because the number was lack. So I think we're going to do this a little different. We're going to, we're going to have to do a planning bond up for the airport. We're going to do some, they're going to do some work on the grounds there to kind of give us some aerial views and stuff of doing some where am I here? The survey they're going to do a boundary survey for the entire property. That's about, we had a couple bids, but the lowest bid was 35,000 because a lot of it they're going to do aerial wise. So they're going to be able to do it with leave off now. It's all just trees there. They'll be able to do a lot of pinpoint stuff with aerial stuff. So that's a $35,000 cost. And then the planning bond, we're going to actually do that. We're actually going to go out, plan the whole entire thing first. design the filter where we're gonna put the tanks and the filters and what needs to be done. Have MHE throw a number at it and then perhaps go get a cost estimate and then go out and bond it. So we're not kind of behind the eight ball on that, if you will. This can be, I'm gonna say, I don't want to put an actual number on it because I know last time we said our sewer plant was gonna be X and it ended up coming into this and it was really not close. I'm gonna say that we're probably looking, I'm gonna say we're probably looking to, maybe 60-ish million at least.
Right,
for it.
Is this the?
Yeah, that's about, but like I said, I don't wanna, that's a close, if you will, number, but, I think we've kind of, already determined what type of plant it would be. It's gonna be something similar to we have now, but a little extra, bells and whistles in it for a better filtration system, if you will. Unlike like the 10 Newburgh has a filtering type system with like these big filters, if you will, like a pool. There are pros and cons, more cons to it. The thing I didn't like about theirs is that if something happens to it, that particular filter, then their filtering system shuts down and the water shuts down. Where ours right now, our old method and the new method would be, we can get past, and that state, if something happened, we can still continue to operate. With the new system, we definitely can handle a more turbid event as well. Like right now, we can't. If the turbidity gets too high, we're, up the creek, if you will. In this case, we won't be. We'll be okay with it. So, the goal is to do our aerial survey, which is gonna be $35,000. We had a couple quotes on it. There was, a field survey was 69 and the aerial was 35. If we were to wait much longer than next month, then they won't be able to do the aerial and have to be field, so we'll go from 35 to 69. And then another field survey we got in is 91,000, so the 35 obviously is the right number. Would come out of water where any money we spend on this now, we can capture. And when we go to bond this will all be paid back, if you will, through the bonding with that. So we can replenish that, but yeah, I don't know, I think this is it's at that point right now that we need to, again, if I had my, I think if we all had our way, we probably wouldn't have done originally the wells and we would have done something different, but we're stuck, we have that now. It's a redundant water source. It works for us. It's sending clean water out in the system, so,
Is there opportunity for infrastructure grants in terms
so
of?
we're gonna put in for grants. I will say that, and I'm not, I don't even know how much, if anything. I know, as you know, we're in the middle of a PFAS litigation as well.
Mhm.
If we were to get back $5 or $5 million, who knows, anything. I don't even know what we're gonna get. Dave, I know, has been busting his butt on that. And whatever we get back from that, my, thing would be put it back in the water infrastructure, and that will lower this number for us, if you
Yeah,
will.
absolutely.
So if we can, who knows, if we can.
Is there any timeline on that at all?
So, I don't know, do you want to speak to that a little bit, Dave? Briefly, you can,
And if not, that's fine. I don't
Well-
wanna
kinda.
do an executive.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is the answer to your question. There is, and, our light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
As far as us receiving, settlement funds, probably somewhere in the range of 90 days to 6 months
Oh,
to start. I'm not entirely certain of that. I have
Right.
a memo, actually, I've been working on it, coming to you guys probably
Yeah.
tomorrow.
so I'll take the end of that and add to it, but still, I don't think that's awful.
So in a nutshell, they give us a calculation of what they think. It's weird. I mean, the calculation is this.
Yeah.
Literally that, and they say, okay, what is that? We're like, oh, no, and they're like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, literally, that's what it is. So Dave's been working through, we'll let you know, but, again, that number, although that's the number now, and I'm gonna go with that, but hopefully that would be reduced with,
Okay.
and yes, we're gonna put in for every grant there is possible out there. I know, I know today I had a conversation with you, and I saw, Sylvia with an email today from Chris Deacus, and I know he's been poking around looking, saying he's got some money to spend, if you will. I think that's a drop in a bucket, but we'll take
Hey,
whatever we can get. I
A
don't
little
care.
bit
Even if-
helps.
a lot of these things don't pay for our engineering, so even if I can cover the cost of engineering and we get the rest of either grants or bonds, it'll be easier for us. So, that's the plan right now. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts. I mean, listen, I think the end game, whether I'm here or not, or we're all here, or one of us, would be, I'd like to see us to do the Stewart plant, complete it. We're gonna go from a 3 MGD plan up to a 5, which is increasing our water. We're, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we can limit not using the wells, but keep them in, keep them in commission for that doomsday scenario. And then the Riley Road, we'll have to figure out from there. I know there has been talks, from, on the DEP end for them. So we have the Catskill Aqueduct. And the town of Newburgh has the Delaware. And there's talks that perhaps at some point bringing the Delaware down past Stewart to Riley Road. If they do that, we can hook in that as well, and we'll have enough water
We
to.
have plenty of
float the
sources,
Windsor.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, at that point, we'd be, really good at that point. But that, I think that may be, I'll be pretty old, I think, when that happens, but who knows? Maybe not. They may fast track and get it done. I will say, when I say doomsday scenario, I think we kind of had it this year with the drought and
Mhm.
Sure.
Newburgh and them shutting the aqueduct down. I mean, it's costing them millions, if not billions, to halt their aqueduct bypass. So it looks like it's probably gonna happen. We're gonna plan for this October again. If it happens, then we feed town of Newburgh and we're going back to the whole ball of wax. So, so like I said, we're gonna do the water tank. The water tanks would be phase 1. We're gonna do the planning bond first, get that all done. The survey work is gonna be getting done once we approve it. I think it's on the agenda for this Wednesday. We'll approve that, let them do the survey work, get that all done. I will say, just to kind of, I guess, part and parcel to this, I've been, my office and the law office, we've been courting, Simone has a lot of property up there, up in the airport, and they're looking to, obviously they're trying to sell it. And anytime that a potential applicant or a buyer of a piece of property comes to the table, we've been hounding them. Dave's been doing good on one place. I just made a phone call to somebody saying, it looks like a lot's gonna happen within the next year. I mean, a lot of building up at the airport. With having that said, we just had, in the last month and a half, we've had probably a dozen water breaks.
Yeah.
You
And
get the text messages,
yeah,
I know it's crazy.
great, and it's, they're at least 10, 12,000 a pop when it happens. And it's, it's time to do
It's
some work up there,
infrastructure. Oh, yeah.
infrastructure, and
No
get
doubt.
that. It's like us, we start getting old and our pipes start going bad, we gotta do,
Uh,
So I think, I think the time has come for us to put some, I think last month's conversation, when I said we need to kind of prioritize some stuff. Yeah, this is an undertaking.
This is up there though.
But it's, it's important, water, sewer, and stuff like that, we need that to live here, so it's very important that we continue with it. So again, you'll see some things on the agenda for that to get that stuff going, and we'll be on our way with that. Talk about the airport. This next one is just the lease extension, the Seco Silk Screen there on the airport. I went up there talking to them. They have, I think if you read this whole thing, it's 7,300 total square foot right now. They're just gonna extend their lease from April, I believe it's up at the end of March, so it'll be April 1st, 25 through March 31st, 2028, the 3-year lease. The normal increments moving up. Like I said, I went up there a couple weeks ago, spoke to him. He's kind of happy. He just wishes his business was more, was booming, but it's a family-owned business, family run as well. So I kind of, it's nice to see that they're in town. We got a few things going on up there. That we keep our buildings in going up there and renting and revenue. Comptroller likes the revenue. So that's, you'll see that on the agenda to renew that. So, this next one, the last encampment, long contract, so I'm kind of, I know I talked to Councilman Lincoln about it a couple of times, but they're not get too crazy into the weeds, but I can. So we had the last encampment down here on 300 was being cared for by the Temple Hill Association. I guess I can't say it any other way, but they had a Temple Hill Association that had a meeting, so they've been caring for that thing for, I think, before I was born, for years and years and years. Since I got in office, obviously the place has not been cared for in years and years and years. So I decided to go down there. I got a bunch of volunteer help. We fixed the flags and did this and did some work. The Temple Association was not happy that I went down there and did that work without asking them. So they basically had a meeting and fired me, which I'm kind of glad they did. So now it looks better. It's nicer. They have some money in the bank that we believe is ours that we're gonna probably be, so I actually spoke to Dan Lucia this morning. Dan is the president of the Temple Hill Association. With that, they were mowing the lawn down there with using Lynn Warren's landscaping. Lynn was doing it and the Temple Hill Association was paying them. So we annually, each year, give the Temple Hill Association $10,000. We budget $10,000 and that's for property maintenance and lawn care and everything else. I think the only thing they've been doing down there for the last 30 years is mowing. And mowing the front lawn, that's it. They have not done any maintenance, taking care of trees, the huts down there, the flags, the poles, the bathrooms that don't work still, an office down there, everything. So I got a bunch of people volunteering, went down and did it. When I got fired, they sent a letter from the president to the town. I think all you folks saw it. That, basically outlined how, that they wanted to be involved. I think they're above their head. I asked them before the start of 2024, I asked them, before I cut them a $10,000 check, if they would please furnish me with their lawn contract. Just so I know that 10,000 out is getting 10,000 paid out. To this day, I still have not gotten it. So I did a little my own diving on it and come to find out that the loan contract was far less than the money I was giving them. So that's a whole nother story. So I called Lynn Warren. I asked him what he would charge me to do the lawn. My buildings and grounds guys can't take it on right now. They're over their head. So he gave me a price of like $7,800. I told him I only had a year. I told him I only had 5,000 budget, so he agreed to do it for 4,800 for this year. So
Hopefully he's not
yeah,
watching.
yeah, exactly. So thanks, Lynn. So he agreed to do it for far less, but I gotta be honest with you, Lynn was one of the many landscapers that didn't help volunteer down at the cemetery that helped us out. And I appreciate all of them.
I mean, I don't think you're not wrong. I think you're not wrong saying that because you got to do a bunch of other stuff. down there.
So, I mean, that
Yeah.
place needs a whole lot of work, but I need to get above, the town wise, my buildings and grounds guys need to get a bunch of stuff. So, that's $4,800 Lynn decided to do. We have $5,000 budgeted for it. I got 2 quotes. I got another quote for, $6,500 to mow it, from another company, $6,300. So I'm gonna go with the smallest quote, but with having that said, you're gonna probably see some back and forth with, I talked to Dan today, I just asked him if I can see some, some records or something that just shows where our money
We
was
made the
going.
24 payment, but not the 25 payment.
So we did not make the 25 payment. He put that in his letter. He's aware that I told him we're not making it.
Right.
And he's okay with it. And like I said, there's about 26,000-ish in their capital fund.
It's gonna stay what's their balance.
So, and there is, but he believes that's there. He doesn't know if that's a real number. So when they're done with their audit, he'll let me know. And then whatever money we get from there, I'm like, I want to do with the water litigation. I want to put it right back into down there. So there's roofs that need to be done. We got to take a little building down. So
Yeah.
I want to get those bathrooms working again and I want people to go in there and enjoy our park and outdoors there. So, so that's something.
This would be great.
Yeah, the bathrooms do need some work. But I do have,
Some picnic
I
tables.
kind of planned ahead for that, so when we tore down the Valencia Firehouse, I took a bunch of stuff out of our bathrooms that were fairly new, and I put them aside to hopefully put in there, so I think they're gonna fit. So, I think that'll all work out. But yeah, so if you see anything coming up, that's what that's gonna be. Another bigger topic that we need to speak about too, the recreation, expansion for either Christie Babcock Park or Ricchetti Park. So we're gonna do, the same thing. What we need to do is, and this is what I'm gonna throw out there, and you folks, we can, we wanna do, we don't wanna do it. So I wanna do, we're gonna have to do some programming for this. When I say programming, whether it be one person, 3 people on the board, whatever we get together. We get Jess, the recreation, and, maybe some outside influence and stuff. And we literally have to put together what we wanna do, like the town of Newburgh has their building coming up. Do we want it this big and this big? What do we want? Pickleball, basketball, splash pad, whatever. I don't care what you do. We have to program it. We have to get it all figured out what we're gonna do. Once that's done, my opinion, and the only reason I'm saying this is because we have the Stewart filter plant. We have the Stewart plant we're going. We're talking about, and you'll see some map planning and reporting in here in reference to drainage districts. If everybody now looks at your tax bills, the drain, you'll see on the bottom of your tax bills is drainage district and they're zero, there's no charge on them. And then we go out and say my neighborhood needs drainage work done. We have to go out to bond the entire town. It kind of gets crazy. So we have the mechanism to charge, to start for us. We have so much drainage in town, Butter Hill, out in the west end, so much stuff that we need to maintain. I will tell you, I went around to a couple of parks the other day. I'm floored at some of the shape some of these places are and how bad we've let them get without putting any money in them. Similar to the drainage and stuff like that. So the programming needs to be done. Once we program it, we come up with a whole ball of wax, what it's gonna cost. Then I say, like the town of Newburgh did, go out to the taxpayers and throw a number at them and see what they, I don't know, did everybody get, you guys got this? You got the?
Yeah.
So if you look in here, there's a project cost amount that Doreen put together. For every $1 million issued with a 20-year, for 4.5% tax bill impact. The residents approximately $7.14 per typical home with a taxable assessed value of 40,000. So basically, if we did, and I think we were talking about a 40 million, but if, obviously you know how that works. When you say it's 40, it's gonna cost you 67. The high end, a $16 million project would be $429 estimated on your, tax bill.
This is per year
Yeah.
for 20 years.
Yes. So, it's a thought we gotta talk about, this directly hits the tax bill. It's not like it's a sewer district. It's not like there's a water district, not like there's a drainage district. This is literally in the tax bill. So this will be a noted increase in the tax bill. So, I think once we do, I think we're on the right course with the program when we put all that together. Listen, the town of Newburgh, the first time they went out, we went to their, I call it their tree topping, but their I-beam topping. They got their first one turned down and then they went and got some funds from the casino, and then they went and brought it back to the public. So I say, once we get all the programming done and an idea and a cost analysis, we throw it out to the public for permissive referendum to see if it would pass or not. And if it does, then I say we go for it. If it doesn't, then we go back to the drawing board, either take the same programming and go out for more money. I like to try to find more money in the meantime. It's, I think like anything else, we're putting in for grants for everything, sewer, water, everything possible. And we just put in, I was told, as a matter of fact, if you looked at some of the emails, I had reached out to Scoofus at the time when we didn't, Senator Scoofus, when we didn't get that grant for pickleball and basketball. And I said, what do we need to do? He goes, you need to do a comprehensive recreation. We did that. We spent 40 grand and we still didn't get it. So I went back to him, what do we need to do now? Now I need to run for Senate? I don't know. What's the answer? The answer, who knows? So we spent 40 grand on it and didn't get our return on investment for that. So I don't want, I want to do this program. I want to put it all together and get it together. In the meantime, see if I can go capture some funds someplace, hopefully to offset whatever it would cost, whatever the cost is going to be. Or do we dial back to what we want to do? I said, and jokingly, but I kind of meant it. I said, if the town of Newburgh did a 200 by 200 building, I want to do 201 by 201 building, so I can say I have a bigger building. But it's going to be pennies. It's not that much, but ours is like 65,000 square feet bigger than what they're like. It's pretty big. Ours, what we're looking to do. Do we scale that back? Do we put a much smaller one up? Or do we figure it out? So I don't know what your thoughts are in reference to going out to the public for comment, a vote.
I have, when will theirs be done? We can go look at it.
I think it's just, recreation director sent me a picture. She was out there last week or 2 weeks ago. It's, it's getting there, but they still have some time. I'm kind of hoping by the end of the summer, they'll have substantial completion of it, but
Cool to see it.
that's just telling me that substantial. They'll probably have some, some completion that we can go look at it and see if it would be, what we need. The difference between the 10 Newburgh, they actually literally put theirs on a ready pit site. Like they had, it was an old hockey rink, so they didn't have to, we have to clear property, sewer infrastructure, water infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have a lot more to do. We have the property though. It's free. I say free. it's part of our park out there. It's, it's gonna be parkland soon, I thought. So, but that'll, that's the easy part. The hard part is gonna be the thing. So, I don't know. I just think that we should probably do the programming on it, get it all set. and then take it to the public. And if the
I
public says,
agree.
you know, we want it, then hey, you know, this is gonna be your additional cost.
I don't agree with lumping Christie Babcock and Rochetti together in terms of this programming, because we're
So-
way ahead on Rochetti projects.
So-
with the meeting.
So we're gonna do, to do the programming bond also to
Yeah.
capture whatever money we spend. So I'll just go a step further. So I know we had gotten money for a splash pad.
Yeah.
I talked to Sylvia and I think, you know, maybe you now as well. And you know, listen, I was up for it in the beginning to put the splash pad at Rochetti. I don't believe Sylvia thinks that's a great idea, right, Rochetti?
And I was thinking that it wasn't, but now I've changed my mind. I also spoke with Jessica a little bit and, given that when she talked about the summer camp, about possibly, you know, using, Rochetti as a lower, you know, active summer camp for kids with special needs, not just for kids with special needs, but for that type of atmosphere, I was like, okay, you know what? And I know she's, coming up with some programming,
My
you know,
sensory stuff, yeah.
well, we've been talking a lot about that.
Yeah.
We know that there's a big need for it, but also, I know there's like, a caregiver, you know, session coming on and so support, right? So obviously there's a big need. So I asked her about it. What's your thinking, you know, if this were to happen? She's like, she would actually prefer it there, Rochetti. She thinks it's the right place for it and so forth. So if we have the bond, I mean, not the bond, if we have the grant for it,
Mhm.
how much does it cost us to put it there and to kind of make that a special area, so to speak?
So that's gonna
I
have to
think
be
we
all
should-
part of the program.
But I think it should be separate, just like
Yeah.
you just
So,
said,
and
it
I-
should be separate
and I-
from, because this,
Right,
that's gonna be a lot
We-
smaller.
Last time we met, you were in and out, but Weeks is ready to start drawing.
He is.
The Rochetti plan splash pad today. He's waiting on your green light.
So
We've got the money.
I
and-
told him I wanted to make sure here, because obviously whatever grant money we got, you know, not all of that, I assume is gonna be captured by that, so there's gonna be an additional funding for that,
Right.
engineering costs. You know, there are, you know, it depends on where we put it down there. The original design he came up with, I personally didn't like. I didn't like how we jumped into the field a little bit. I think we could have utilized more of the, old hockey rink, if you will. So just to kind of go one step further and tell you about, in reference to that, I had, obviously this was on here and this was all gonna be one big conversation. So, you know, I don't know if you remember several months ago, we were talking about this teen center. I want to get this thing. I grew up in a teen center in Rochetti
Yeah.
Park. I like to see it back there one day.
Absolutely.
So I went down there and looked at it, you know, kind of quickly. I think I looked at it with rose colored glasses on, because I went back down there a couple weeks ago and I'm like, oh my God, well, where am I? Somebody must have blindfolded me when I went in. So I had talked to buildings and grounds guys, and I kind of, Jeff out of my office here was kind of spearheading with them, and it looks like they went in and gutted the entire place. They threw probably a dumpster stuff away. I mean, just stuff, the crap we've been saving. So when I was all said and done, I was like, you know, I hate piecemeal and stuff. I want to either go big or go home. I want to make it right. So I called, I spoke to Weeks about, in reference to this too, because I want to make it all, if I'm going to use my engineer down there, I'm not going to have him do the splash pad and then go do this. I want him to engineer a whole kit and caboodle there. So I ended up calling Senator Scoopus up and I asked him for something for the police department, and he said, yeah, send it to me. And he goes, you know, it's funny that you're calling me, because I was gonna give you a call. I want to talk to you about, I have some money that I knew random money I got. So I asked him if he had a couple $100,000 I could put into this building, because it needs it. And he goes, write it up and send it to me. So he's been solid for us. I will tell you that. And he said, you know, so I, you know, asked him for $90,000 worth of additional stuff. Forget about the 800 for the grant and or for the, splash pad and the other stuff. So right now, what I'm gonna do is he's looking at some police department grant stuff, and Wednesday, one of MHE's principals is gonna be down there. He's gonna put together a whole programming for this, and at the same time, we're gonna, probably the week after, we're gonna get together and say, okay, where is the splash pad going? How big is the splash pad gonna be? You know, what is it gonna take and what's the cost of it? And then let's move forward. I will tell you, I did, in the event that the splash pad, because I didn't know if we wanted to go splash pad at Rochetti and then at a Christie Babcock Park, do a gym, pickleball, basketball, and no splash pad out there.
There should be one out there.
If there's one out there, I didn't know if we were gonna say, listen, let's focus on putting a splash pad out there and make it part of that, so we don't have to bond another $1 million since we got it. So I guess the idea would be us having, eventually at some point, we're gonna have two of them,
Yeah.
one at Rochetti and one at Christie Babcock
Mhm,
Park,
yeah.
right? Is that what
Well,
we?
After several meetings with Jess and, yeah,
So if we do that, which, like I said, we have the, you know, with the one grant, I did ask Scoopus in the event that, you know, we couldn't come to a middle ground, we could spend that money if we needed to on something else, and we'd had to send them a letter, so Wednesday, Weeks' office is, or MHE is gonna be down at Ricchetti. They're gonna look at that back building, they're gonna put together a punch list of some things that need to be done down there. And then at the same time, I'm gonna tell him that, listen, start figuring out exactly where this is going, this splash pad, because there was so many, let's do it down here, let's move the pavilion, let's go in the back by the building here.
Draw it up and we were.
We were
gonna-
all over the place, and I think what I honestly like to do, me personally, I think right where that old hockey thing is,
Mhm.
should be the splash pad. I don't think it's that difficult.
Yeah, we don't-
Yeah, I think we can do
Yeah, I
that,
agree.
make that parking lot a little bigger, and then they can do some,
Yeah, that's exactly.
landscape or get up to the upper lot. So I think maybe Wednesday, I'll, once we get the programming and everything done for this, we'll go to have them do that. And then fast forward to the Christie Babcock Park, I still think that once we get all the programming, we figured out what kind of building we want, how big you want it, what do you want it, say indoor track, football, basketball, look at 10 Newburghs at the same time, come up, put a number to it, and send it out to,
Yeah.
and I think simply send it out to the public because it's gonna be a direct impact on their taxes, and I think anybody knows, I'm pretty certain my 84-year-old mother's not gonna be at a Christie Babcock Park running around the gym. But she's gonna be paying for it, so,
Right.
people like that need to have their say whether they, want it, honestly or not.
So to make sure we're on the same page, nothing, we're gonna move ahead with Ricchetti, but anything regarding Christie Babcock, not gonna delay Ricchetti Park
No,
at all, right?
no.
We're gonna,
We're gonna, starting,
listen, we know that's gonna take here, so we wanna
Oh,
show
yeah.
the changes in Ricchetti now.
No,
like,
100%.
you know.
so, Wednesday, when he does that, we'll look at that, we'll move a little forward with our plan for that, for Ricchetti Park with both the building and the splash pad to catch.
Sure, because the building, I think, could also be used for some of the, programs that she has now. I know they're doing the Little Shop, why come out to community center? If you have
Oh,
a
no,
park, you have all that stuff, you have the pavilion, right?
It definitely can, and I like it,
Yeah.
like, I know we migrated away from having a camp there. I know I think she's gonna do a more sensory type thing at the camp
Correct.
center, and I like it because it's entirely fenced in. So much
Exactly,
easier to,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. maintain and security and all that stuff. And like I said, we'll get that building where it need to be. The buildings and grounds guys, I'm telling you, if you go down and look at it now, you'd be like, you wouldn't believe that they went in there and did what they did.
Right.
And they've done a great job with it, so we're gonna keep poking at them. And then we'll.
Said there's a meeting already scheduled?
So Wednesday they're coming to, the MHE's gonna go down there and do their whole,
Oh,
what, they're gonna go through and give me a mock-up list. I need to get a number to Stu for sooner or later,
yeah,
so he can go through his DASNY, process to get it approved. So I will be doing that on, Wednesday,
Okay.
and then once he gives me a number, we'll sit down and we'll kind of lay out Ricchetti. I'll tell him Thursday, I'll talk to Mike Weeks and tell him to start moving on Ricchetti,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I just, I think the only, the one thing that obviously I know rightfully so, my comptroller is concerned about is the ongoing O and M and all that stuff that we have to, obviously it's gonna be
Mhm.
going forward, it's gonna be something we'll have to deal with in the, upcoming budget, but we'll figure that out. Everybody, I think, got this memorandum. Moving on here to number 5, the employee notification FOIL request for disciplinary records. Anybody have any comment on it? This was something that was legislation signed in law in September 24, requires that the public employees be notified of their disciplinary records or requested as part of a FOIL request. Dave wrote this whole thing. I don't know.
He writes everything.
And yeah, we're just gonna, if anybody has any questions or no issues on it, I know you've had it a little bit, if, it's just something that I know the police department's been dealing with it a bit for a couple of years now in reference to foiling their stuff or us sending stuff out to the DA's office and stuff. So here, our employees are perfect, so we don't have to worry about anything with them. They got nothing to foil on.
Okay.
We got all
Say
good
so.
people here. So this is something that I think, I believe, I honestly just skimmed over the agenda. I don't know if this was on there for a pass. Is it on the agenda? I think that's it. Yeah, I'm sure it is, but, so that's, if you have any comment between now and Wednesday, if you just happen to read over and don't like something, or something stops at you, just let Dave know, so we can take care of that. The last thing on the agenda here, and I'm gonna try to see if I can, you know, perhaps talk to the senators on this one too, but we're beating this guy up. Hey, listen, eventually it's our money, right?
Yeah.
So we had, I don't know if you guys remember, like 2 years ago, we did our roof here. We bonded this entire roof here. At the time when they went through the entire roof to do it, I'm assuming it was a, you know, sort of kind of a cost saving measure. The old section, which is the very front of the town hall, at the time, they said it looked pretty good. It didn't really need much, attention on it. So in the last couple of months, we've been, have all our people up in the front of the town hall had to work with umbrellas now. As the water's coming through, we got the snow, the thaw, and so our, engineer went up there. And we brought our roof guy up there because we kind of thought it was some warranty work that needed to be done. We thought it was all the stuff they had done. Come to find out it wasn't. So they gave us, he just came up to look at what we had. He gave me a patching method, which is like 30,000, and they gave us a quote for repairing it the right way. You know, the patching is gonna buy us a couple of years, and for me, I think it's throwing 30 grand out the window.
I agree.
I spoke to the comptroller. I said, listen, I know we gotta probably go out to bid for this, so we do have to go out to bid if it's, you know, over $100,000. And she said, listen, we gotta protect our asset here, so we gotta get it done. So I think we're gonna go out to bid, for the older section, which is the front part of the roof here, and then finally we'll be a couple years behind on that one, but we'll be good to go with, I think, most of all our roofs. Yeah, that's gonna be, we're gonna get that done soon. Again, you'll see that going out to bid. I'm sure we have to advertise all that stuff right there and do all our happy 10-board stuff we gotta do. And that was it. I only had 6 things on there. I said I'll be done by quarter after. And Antonio, I know. Go ahead, say it, Danielle. Go ahead, say it. I know you're thinking it.
We did a great job.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Lied right to his face.
Job security. She's off camera, but lied to me. Any of you guys got anything you want to bring up? You want to talk about? You want to say? You got anything? I do. I have something here. Okay, 1 second. I had something new.
This? I don't know.
No, that's, that, I just got a call on that. They said they're gonna be, So I don't know if you saw this, you know, if any of you saw this. So I asked the comptroller just to talk about one other thing. Now that Danielle made me mad, I'm gonna talk about her office now.
Oh, yeah.
So, did everybody see the
Yep.
IT
Yeah.
comparable? So
Yeah.
I know the goal was, and this is not an agenda item, so I just something I know popped up and I wasn't gonna redo this agenda and post it and. I know the goal was, when we were doing all this intermunicipal stuff was to cover at least, 2 of the. Lower employees, if you will, in the IT department, to cover their, salaries. And right now, we cover about 80% of them, and you know, I don't know, I had a talk with some of the IT folks. You know, I attribute to some of it, I know so a lot of their hours are billable hours are down, I don't want them just starting to bill for the heck of it. But you know I attribute some of it, some of these places that we've taken over, were a nightmare, were a mess. We went in and we fixed them all up and we put new computers in and we answer and we got people answering phones and stuff. And now I think when we bring them up to snuff, you're gonna probably be doing a lot less work there, right? You're not gonna be getting a lot of more billable hours on it unless there's some, you know, breakdowns and old stuff. I mean, for me, I like when we take people on and their stuff is old and it keeps breaking because we keep charging them and make money. But in this case, you know, we're not, you know, Woodbury has just decided to, I think you guys, I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that.
to that.
Woodbury is, so Woodbury they've always had, the town has done one company and the police department does another. I did call Woodbury, I asked them, I talked to the police chief, because I said, I heard you're going to, back to your other company, because I am, I said, well, he goes, cause you guys are killing me, you're billing us, you know, here and there. The bills come late, you know, he went off on a tangent. He goes, don't get me wrong, the people that come here and fix it and all your IT staff are amazing. They do great work. I love them. They do good, but I just don't. So I don't know. I ended up talking to the, Woodbury supervisor today. And, you know, I just wanted to tell her, hey, listen, I just want to, you know, just to make sure that, you know, this is the case that you're firing me. This will be the second time I got fired this year. And she said, no, we have somebody else. I'm like, oh, I know, that means you're not using us anymore. And she really wasn't certain that the police department used somebody else, but she found out, I said, yeah, so I had to send that letter, that's why I shared it with you folks,
Yeah.
that we're done with them, but, you know, if you look at Woodbury too, Woodbury was not a huge, money maker for us, if you will, because I think they had their stuff in point, I don't know if they got their own computer person on hand or something they use, but, so, you know, as it stands right now, we fund 80%, our IT staff funds 80% of our annual festivals. I think we would do like 22 of them or so. So, you know, we took one of them, one fire department, Orange Lake or Middle Hope, I forget, one of them wanted to come on board, I think it was Middle Hope. And I threw a number at them and they were happy with it. I just don't want, you know, talking to Dorian, she said, listen, for them to cover the two of them, we need to charge more or leave it the same. I gotta be honest, I don't wanna chase these people away either. You know, one of the thoughts is maybe charge a yearly, just like a flat fee, whether it be $1,000 or something like a retainer or something like, hey, listen, this is your fee you're paying to call us every time. Again, I don't want everybody to say, you know what, we're out, we're gonna go someplace else, go, and then now that 80% is down to 30% and, you know, now we're funding at least some of this.
Is there a way to be more assertive or aggressive with hours, like capturing more hours? I guess it's something to talk about with the department or private, but
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
I mean, there are some things that I think, I talked to them that they can follow up and do a little
Yeah.
more, you know, follow up
Proactive
on,
stuff.
yeah, do some proactive stuff, whether it be, you know, either updating or going to vacuum their fans out or something, I don't know. But that's Danielle's job. But yeah, you know, there are some things that can be done. You know, again, I just don't want to just start billing just because I want to bill to make money either. I want it legit, you know, I want them to.
So two things. Number
Yeah.
one, the new municipality that we brought on, not municipality, but I think the fire department, that's not reflective then in there because they're new. So we don't really know what their billing is, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do have some,
From the new place?
the new billing, not a lot. I
Okay.
think they're onset, we went in there and their rate is different.
Sure.
We're gonna start.
Yeah, so I'm
charging-
saying, so that'll come up. And then the second one, you said that, there was a complaint that our bills are coming late. Has that been addressed?
So I did, you know, it's apparently, and you know, until I go sit down behind a computer and watch it, and I would have to talk to a bunch of these other folks, which I plan on it.
Sure.
Apparently there are, you know, they said, although they said their bills were coming late and there was issues with them, they feel that it got a little better.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, I think, John McDonald, I think does all the billing himself.
Okay.
So he gets the input, these folks go out and do what they gotta do. They have their whole system that they add their hours in and it gets billed.
So
You
I
know,
think that used to be a complaint
Uh,
before.
yeah, and
right?
it has been, and I'm not, by no means am I, you know, sticking up for anybody, you know, perhaps maybe they can do something different down there by billing, how they do their billing.
Sure.
You know, I know, you know, I don't know, Dave can attest to that, once he starts on something we talk about, and I walk in there, he's like, what now? And like, so he gets sidetracked, so I assume it happens if people are off or out or
Sure.
whatever. But yes, I did have a meeting with all the IT staff, we talked about it, and I know they're doing some of their own little inter-office meetings and figuring
Gotcha.
some things out, so hopefully they'll be able to,
Thank you.
get that back on the tracks there. But yeah, and like I said, we haven't gotten any more calls from anybody that wanting to do it, so we're pretty good right now. I would say if it's somebody local that probably won't say no, but
Thank you.
sorry, Danielle. No, but, that's the IT. I wanted to just give you all a heads up on that.
All right.
And, that's it, folks. So I appreciate everybody coming
Motion, move to executive.
Second.
for personnel stuff. Or-
Well,
For
stuff
fire?
that you want to talk about,
Okay.
because that might not be on the list.
Yes, okay. Thank you.